Welcome back to round 4. You can see we're 3-0 in an MTGO competitive league. Each match has gone to 3 games, so that's typical for Tarmogoyf Thoughtseize decks. Let's see what we're up against. Jabberwocky! Okay. So we're up against a person who frequently plays a lot of other grindy decks. Let's see here. Do I keep this? Little land heavy. Really don't like mulliganing against potentially opponents who have Thoughtseize in their deck, when I have a perfect mana base and a decent curve. Polluted Delta. Okay. Two cards on top, so they like what they see. Not much for me to do there except play Shambling Vent and pass. Creeping Tar Pit. Is this some sort of blue-black control deck? If so, I'm heavily intrigued. I love the blue-black combination, and I love Creeping Tar Pit. Last time I played against Jabberwocky, I was on Naya Rally or Shift, and he was on some sort of fast Jund version, which ran Bedlam Reveler. I'm sure that video is somewhere on his Twitch stream or YouTube channel or whatever he's got now. Let's see. So no matter what, he has the removal spell, and next turn he has a Jace the Mind Sculptor, which I have no answer for. He's in a very good spot. Take the Fatal Push. He's not going to let me connect with Grim Flayer. Yep. Sure. This is a type of matchup where I'm much more comfortable playing Sultai when I know that I have counter magic in the sideboard. Counter Squall and Disdainful Stroke are phenomenal against blue-black and really just blue control decks. This is one of the shortcomings I feel of Abzan Traverse. I think it's a phenomenal deck. I think it's well positioned for mid-range. You just cannot beat Resolve Jace the Mind Sculptor. So my options here are chip away at Jace while I can under the Field of Ruin with a Shambling Vent, but Shambling Vent is not powerful enough to kill Jace here. This is a situation where Treetop Village is actually better than Shambling Vent. I err on the side of Shambling Vent because I like the more consistent mana. I would put this matchup at very unfavored, depending upon how their deck is built. Okay, lost Traverse. And lost Vent. So either my opponent has a Dismember, or a Fatal Push right now. Yep. This game looks like it's probably over from this position. It'd help if I 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 didn't draw 7 lands here. This game is over. I just want to see a little bit more from my opponent before I concede. I have the Fatal Push to kill Snap. I have the Maelstrom Pulse to kill the Jace. If I draw an Abrupt Decay, maybe I can hit Liliana. The fact that my opponent runs main board Liliana the Last Hope leads me to believe they may also run Tasigur or some sort of threat like that, because Liliana's kind of the blue-black, or really just a black K command with that -2 ability. I don't see too many decks running her just for her ultimate and her +1. May have stood a chance this game if I didn't draw almost every land in the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 out of 19. I've only seen 18 cards and 12 of them are land. That's not how you beat a control deck. It's not how you beat any deck, really. I see almost no way I could win this match. I just want to see a couple more cards for my opponent's deck. I know that they do have an inevitability with Creeping Tar Pit. That's a word I should just stop saying unless I can pronounce it correctly. Creeping Tar Pit is very, very good. Can kill me in 7 turns. Choosing to target the Liliana because if I target the Click, they'll just bring Click right back with the Liliana. Okay. Now my opponent's clock is quite a bit faster. Only time I'd use the Marsh Flats here is just gonna, if they Fate Seal me and keep it on top, I'll shuffle it away. That's pretty much all it's good for there. Sure. Snap Cryptic on a Bauble? Sure. Dead either way. Okay, blue-black control. We have some good cards here in the sideboard for this matchup. Gaddock Teeg is an absolute all-star. Fulminator Mage is not as good here as it is against maybe Jeskai or a blue-white control, but it's still pretty good. Combo I don't love, especially since they're not really running lightning bolts as removal spells anyway, but it's a possibility. Reclamation Sage could hit Escanta, which we didn't see, but doesn't mean they're not running it. Could hit random things that we're not really expecting. Maybe my opponent runs Bridge to protect Jace, I'm not sure. Last Hope and Bitteblossom are phenomenal here. I don't bring in, unless I have nothing else to bring in, I will not bring in a Nihil Spellbomb just to beat Snapcaster Mage. I don't think it's a good enough function. What's bad? Removal spells. I think Fatal Push is terrible here. I am anticipating that Last Hope makes me think there's got to be some sort of Tasigur somewhere in that deck. Plus, I just love the card. I'd love to have some ways of dealing with it. Path Exile can also hit Creeping Tar Pit if I need to, and it can also hit Snapcaster if I, again, absolutely need to. Walking Ballista is a way of killing Jace, just not a very good one. Souls are great. I love Last Hope in this matchup. Pulse is phenomenal. Abrupt Decay, I'm not as high on here. Collective Brutality can help get rid of some removal spells. Let me know what's going on. Bitteblossom I absolutely love in this matchup. So let's see. Cut the Decay. I'm bringing in Rec Sage to hit in case they bring in random things. I don't care about killing Snapcaster Mage. I also have the Last Hopes to do that. I'm also not too concerned with Vendilion Click. Again, I have Last Hope and Path, and I'll keep in the Ballista for that as well. Combo. I don't think he's good enough for this matchup. He's anti-burn, anti-storm, anti-KCI. He would be the 60th card. 61st card, sorry. No lands, easy mulligan. Turn 1 discard, turn 2 Tarmogoyf, potential of a turn 3 Liliana is a keep. Abzan Traverse, as I was saying before, I will play it all day long in a room full of humans, a room full of burn, a room full of hollow one. What I don't like seeing when I sit down with Abzan Traverse is Jace the Mind Sculptor decks. They have a much better long game. They have the removal spells to deal with my threats, and Abzan Traverse can run out of steam. It top decks phenomenally, but when your opponent's top decking cards, draw them cards, and you're top decking a threat that can be dealt with any sort of spot removal or interaction, it's not where you want to be. I've had some conversations with people in the Abzan community of what to do about that. How do we make Abzan Traverse better against control? I suggested Bitteblossom. I've ran it in the past. I think it's okay. I think it's certainly a way to beat. For example, this matchup, it's certainly a wonderful card here. Something I can definitely win off of. I don't think it's enough. If Bitteblossom was only good against control decks, it wouldn't. If it was only in the sideboard for control decks, it wouldn't be good enough. But because it's also there for mid-range decks, it's also there for, absolutely random things. It blows out Mardu Pyromancer, and on occasion, I actually do bring it in against Hollow One because it make me discard my hand. It makes Tarmogoyf big. If I get to keep it, well, it buys me enough time where I can usually win off of the back of a very large Tarmogoyf. Speaking of large Tarmogoyf, Walking Ballista would help that. I do want lands though, so I will bottom him. Clear the way for Tarmogoyf, and go on. I anticipate Tarmogoyf still dying before they drop the Jace. Liliana is very good at bringing back Tarmogoyf. That's her primary function in this matchup. She's either an ultimate machine or her -2 machine is the form of K command, where instead of getting to deal 2 damage or making your opponent discard a card, you get to keep a 1 loyalty planeswalker, which threatens to take over a game. Especially against a deck that does not have access to Lightning Bolt. I think the Bitteblossom is the better play here. Put the card on the bottom. Okay. Well, goodbye Tarmogoyf. Let's play another Dark Slick Shore, which I did not know about. Okay. It's a little premature. Goodbye Tarmogoyf now. Glad I was able to land that Bitteblossom. I think it's going to be a much better threat over the course of this game than a Tarmogoyf would be. Put a card on top, plays the Watery Grave. Okay. My plan was to cast Collective Brutality as Duress second main anyway. I did not want to give them a free discard, free counterspell. I don't like casting spells when my opponent's holding up Cryptic Command mana. I don't like holding up spells, casting spells my first main when they could counter and tap. I'd rather than get the counter draw effect out of that anyway. Trying to make my opponents cards as worse as possible. Hopefully they keep top decking lands or something else. I know that replacing my spell with a draw isn't always the best, but I was able to hit an Inquisition there when my Collective Brutality would have just been countered. So I was able to hit something with that spell. Same thing, I don't want to cast the discard before combat. Right now I do have a 2-turn clock. They're going to drop a Jace. They could always minus the Grim Flayer. I am drawing a Tarmogoyf. I think I just have to hope that they didn't sack a Damnation on top of their deck. Again, I'm not going to win the long game here. I have to be fast. I'm going to have to take a risk. That's my risk. Makes me wish I cast the Drain effect also for that Collective Brutality. Path to Exile's not doing too much for me right now. I'm still anticipating a Tassiger I have not seen. So that would still be a good clock against my opponent. I really want Grim Flayer to hit them, so I get the Surveil effect. Okay, so they're protecting Jace. They're going to Brainstorm. I don't think I dropped Tarmogoyf here. I already took that risk. If I go all out, I would just absolutely auto-lose. Or I can still win if my opponent does not hit something here. Sure. Means I'm not drawing that Traverse. I think my opponent probably did that more to get rid of the 3 cards he'd put on the top of his, or 2 cards he'd put on the top of his deck that he hadn't drawn yet. Game plan is still keep attacking with Grim Flayer, get my triggers on, and try to keep Jace off balance. Really just need to try and win the game. They're going to have 4 mana. If they don't cast a Damnation, then they're probably going to have a Cryptic or some sort of Snap caster and some sort of removal spell. Snap Push would be very good for them. Yep, there it is. Do I path one of my creatures? No, it's silly. Plus, I don't have any basics left. I was thinking try to get make Siege Rhino alive. Not threatening lethal, but I do have a pretty good board presence here. That Bitteblossom is doing work. Well, now I have lethal. Snapcaster, Cryptic Command. Yep. That plans was a Temple Garden or another green source, so I would have played Scavenging Ooze instead. Reluctantly getting rid of that path to Exile. I really wanted to hit a Tasigur or something of the like with it, which, again, I'm not even sure my opponent has. I just feel like they do. But I really don't want to go down to 8 and then 7 with Bitteblossom. Okay. Second Damnation may have sealed it. Creeping Tar Pit is a heck of a clock when Bitteblossom is pinging me for 1 each turn. I have the only sense of life gain I have left in the deck is a Shambling Vent and a Rhino. I cannot cast the Rhino and the Shambling Vent comes into play tapped. My outs. I really just land a Tarmogoyf, protect him, and swing in once. That's how I'm going to win. Maelstrom Pulse on Jace would be nice. So 5 life. With no green mana. Yeah. I think my chance of winning right now is if my opponent times out, which is not going to happen. So this will be pushing me down to 3-1. Okay, so we are 3-1. We just lost to a control deck, a blue-black control deck, piloted by Jabberwocky, who's an excellent, excellent player. Hopefully I get to see his list on the 5-0s because it looks pretty sweet. His deck could actually potentially even run Bitteblossom if he wanted to. I don't know if he needs it. He's got really smooth mana. From what I saw of his deck, I like it a lot. I'm a really big fan of Liliana the Last Hope. You can see I consistently run 2 in my 75 for every green-black deck. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to 5-0 this league, but we can still 4-1, and no matter what, we are 3-2, which is a successful league. So I will see you in round 5.